Hi, welcome to this video. Cancer is not a death sentence, it's a life sentence. Well, actually it's a love sentence. So in today's video I'm going to share a little bit about what happens if you fight cancer. So before I do that, those of you who don't know me, my name is Dean Powell and I specialize in addictions and subconscious reprogramming and mindset. And not just drugs and alcohol, which seems to be the first thing we think about when we hear the word addiction, but all things addictive. So smoking, sex, porn, pharmaceuticals, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, social media, Tinder and all these different apps, but also computers and work and money and spirituality, so much more. And then what happens as a result of these addictions? So unhealthy relationships, not being able to set boundaries in our life, not taking responsibility in certain areas of our life. And also then feeling shame and guilt and depression and also like isolated, disconnected from ourselves and hence everyone else in the world. And the reason I do this is many years ago I was addicted to methamphetamines and alcohol and a number of other things before finally getting my shit together. And after working in rehab centers for a number of years, I discovered that I want to work more holistically with people and help them find the void that they're trying to fill instead of just stopping what they're doing, which creates a bigger void. Okay, so let's get into it. Cancer is not a death sentence, it's a life sentence. So everything in this universe is energy. There's enough proof of this now in quantum physics and quantum mechanics and science to prove that everything in the universe is energy. And if everything is energy, that means it's trying to live, it wants to be here, yeah? So everything has a purpose. And if you fight it, it's going to fight back because it wants to be here. Natural tendency of every living thing, every living organism and energy is it wants to be here, it wants to live. So the goal and the key is to find out why it came into your life. So find the reason, thank it, find the love in it and thank it. And from that place it doesn't have to be here anymore. So if you created it, you can heal it. We can heal, fix, create, manifest anything that we want in our lives. But if we buy into the fear and we declare a war on it, it's going to fight us back. So when we declare a war on something, guys, it grows, it gets bigger. We declared a war on drugs back in the 80s or whenever it was. And the drug problem got bigger. We declared a war on terrorism and that got bigger. We declared a war on disease and it's going to get bigger because we're buying into that fear mentality. So find out why it came into your life and then it'll change. Like I said, it doesn't have to be here anymore. So I'm currently working with a client who a few years ago had a double mastectomy. So she had radiation chemotherapy and she changed her diet, to a plant-based diet because she realized, that cancer lives in an acidic body. So, and a lot of it is to do with diet. But they didn't do any work around the emotional side, energetic side, spiritual side. And then she's been in remission for a couple of years, a few years now. And while she's been in remission, a mutual friend of ours got cancer. Well, they discovered cancer in her body when they opened her up to give her a cesarean and they discovered she had stage 4 liver and bowel cancer. And because this lady's husband, I'd worked with him before, helping him change his mindset around exercise. He was an Ironman. So I helped him to start getting on the podium and actually winning many of his races and got invited to Hawaii. And so they realized, that mindset is so important here. So they flew me back to help them with this cancer. So let alone changing their diet, but we did a lot of emotional and energetic work around the cancer. And to the point where she's actually clear of cancer now. So she has 0 cancer in her body. So fast forward to a few weeks ago, and my client went back for a checkup and they discovered that the cancer's returned. And she now has cancer in her liver and 2 spots in her spine and in her shoulder. And because they knew the work that I'd done with this mutual friend, they contacted them and said, could we hook up a session? So my friends contacted me and said, guys, Dean, can you come and work with these people? They're a beautiful, beautiful young family, really good friends of ours. And look, because I love this stuff, guys, I was like a resounding yes, of course I will come and do this. So our first session we did was to help this lady to see that there was, to clear the past trauma that she had. So we did some work around her dad and the fact that she felt her dad was never in her life. So she had the sense of abandonment and the sense of missingness that she was trying to fill with all sorts of things in her life. And it was affecting her life. It was affecting her relationship. It was affecting how she felt about herself. She never felt like she was worthy of love. She didn't feel good enough. She had low self-worth and sense of self. So we did this work around her dad to the point where she got to see that, oh my God, there was more love than she could have imagined. And then the second session we did was on the cancer itself. And, you know, I said to her in the beginning of the session, this is going to seem really weird, you know, like, but we're going to do the cancer as if it's an entity, an energy. And we did this session, and then throughout the session she was in tears because she got to see this cancer from a completely different space. And at the end she was in tears, crying, thanking the cancer for coming into her life. She got to see that it had come into her life for love, not for war. So it had actually come in to wake her up to the fact that she was absolutely worthy of love and worthy of everything that she wanted in her life, and she'd been resisting it her whole life. So from this place, everything changes, guys. So from this place, the cancer doesn't need to be there anymore. And then we did some work with her and her husband, because she also discovered, which was the same as my other friend, that their relationship wasn't exactly, or wasn't the way they wanted it to be. So on the outside, everything looked good, and they kind of pretended, you know, that everything was fine, but they really, you know, were pretending, and it wasn't how they wanted their relationship to be. So we started to open up this, you know, this open, transparent, vulnerable dialogue with each other. So they got to actually express what was truly going on for them, their fears, their worries, you know, their resistance. And again, that's a game changer for them. So the most noticeable thing, I think, in just after a few sessions, is my client looks so much lighter. So she looks like she's dropped years and years of this weight that she was carrying. She looks soft, she looks just light. And I actually pointed this out, and she said, I know everyone's telling me the same thing, and my husband says the same thing. And I said to her, I said I should be charging for facelifts, yeah, because she literally looks 10, 20 years younger. And this is what happens, like when we shift this emotional stuff, then it literally has a physical effect on us. And then we're not buying into that fear and that resistance in the body, then the body is in a much more conducive state, in that place of homeostasis, where, you know, healthy life begins, and where healthy life is, well, where life is actually in a healthy form. So one of the things with, you know, with modern medicine and, you know, the way we treat cancer now with, God, like chemotherapy and radiation and these things that kill the body and kill people, I mean, they know this now, is, you know, there's so much fear around that, but these people have only been trained, you know, like in that field, so they don't know anything about diet, or they don't even talk to people about their diet, you know, and there's enough proof out there now that you can change your diet, and even that can shift a lot, you know, can shift things and change things, because cancer doesn't live in an alkaline body, it lives in an acidic body. So they haven't also been trained around the energetic and the spiritual side of things, and we're holistic human beings, guys, you know, we're a body. We're a soul with a body, not a body with a soul. So anything that shows up in the body, dis-ease, discomfort, and dis-ease, yeah, it's a lack of ease in the body. Then, you know, there's an indication there that there's something not right. There's something that we're not listening to. And when you find out what that is, it can change. It doesn't need to be there anymore. So the other thing is, guys, when your certainty is greater than anyone else's doubt. So now with my clients, so all I'm helping her to do is to step out of that fear and out of that resistance. And my certainty is greater than anyone else's doubt around this stuff. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, because I've experienced it and lived it myself and helped God knows how many now, thousands of clients to realize this as well. Then your certainty becomes greater than anyone else's doubt. You don't have to buy into that fear anymore. So it doesn't matter what anyone tells you. It doesn't matter, and if they're an oncologist or a surgeon or a professional, you don't have to listen to that. You don't have to buy into that. And the reason they do that is because, you know, there's so much fear around what they're doing. And my God, this client, when she was in remission, she told me she went to the oncologist one day and said, I want to have another baby, because they only had one young daughter. And she said, I want to give my daughter a sibling. You know, can I have a baby now? And the oncologist, believe it or not, said to her, yeah, think very seriously about whether you want that child to be raised by a single dad or not. And she was like floored, you know, and I mean, I couldn't believe it when she told me that. I'd love to go and slap some sense into this guy. These are the guys I want to be working with. I mean, what a dumb thing to say to somebody. So, but it's all that fear that they have around that. And I said, listen, as much as that angers me, like this guy he's only ignorant in the sense that he's been trained in the way he's been trained, and all that tells me is that he doesn't believe in his own treatment. So it's about stepping out of that fear and knowing that when you shift, like you shift your diet, you shift the energy, and you do work on the emotional and the spiritual side, then everything shifts. It's a game changer. There's enough people out there. There's enough cases, enough studies to prove, and studies that you won't find in mainstream, but people like testimonials and real life stories of people who beat all the odds. Who can. I know people who've beaten type 2, 1 and 2 diabetes. I know people who've healed AIDS. I know people who've healed so many different forms of cancer and things that they said they could never heal. An amazing book out there that I read many, many years ago is a book called The Journey by Brandon Bays. And this lady had done a lot of work on herself, but she ended up getting a tumor that was the size of a watermelon. So as it started to grow and get bigger, she just started to wear baggy clothes and kind of just, and avoided it to a point where it got to the point where it was wedged between her rib cage and her uterus, and she couldn't avoid it anymore. And she went to the hospital to go and get checked out, and they said, "My God, you've got a tumor the size of a watermelon. We need to get that out of you right now." Because this lady had done a lot of work on herself and also worked with Deepak Chopra, she said, "Just give me 2 weeks. I want to see what I can do in 2 weeks." And they said, "No, you've got to get it done now." And she said, "No, I'm going to take 2 weeks." So in that 2 weeks, she went inside and she did a lot of meditation, and she did some work around, okay, why is this cancer here? And, and started to really get in touch with this cancer. 2 weeks later, she went back to the hospital to get checked, and it had reduced to the size of a grapefruit. And they were amazed, and they said, "Oh my God, I know what you've done, but it's incredible. But we still need to get that out now." And she said, "You know what? If I got rid of this, if I shrunk this in 2 weeks, imagine what else I can do. I don't need you guys anymore." So she went away, kept doing this work, and to the point where she was cleared of cancer. An amazing book, and she also includes in there the journey of how she did that, and the different steps and processes she used. So don't let anyone tell you guys that this is a death sentence. You can, like I said, if you created it, you can absolutely heal it. So if you have any questions, if you want to reach out to me, guys, jump on my website, www.lifetalk, lifetorque.com.au, or send me an email at lifetalk@gmail.com. And look, I love this stuff, guys. So if there's anything I can do to help, any advice, or if you want to work with me, please just reach out. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found this challenging, because this is the whole idea of life. I want to challenge the limiting beliefs that we have around all of this stuff. Yeah. So if you found it challenging, great. I don't apologize for that. I think it's a good thing. So hope you have an amazing day, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And please reach out if you have any questions. Take care. Bye.